The practice of medicine has been in practice by trained professionals from ancient times to the present. Early medical traditions include those of ancient Egypt and Babylon. The Greeks went even further, introducing the concepts of medical diagnosis, prognosis, and advanced medical ethics. The Hippocratic Oath, still taken, although significantly changed from the original by doctors upon today, was written in Greece in the 5th century BC. In the medieval age, surgical practices inherited from the ancient masters were improved and then systemized by Rogers, the practice of surgery. Universities began systematic training of physicians around the years of 1220 in Italy. During the Renaissance, understanding of the anatomy improved and the microscope was invented. The germ theory of disease in the 19th century led to the cures of many infectious diseases. Military doctors advanced the methods of trauma treatment and surgery. Public health measures were developed, especially in the 19th century, as the rapid growth of cities required systematic sanitary measures. Advanced research centers opened in the 20th century, often connected with major hospitals. The mid-20th century was characterized by new biological treatments such as antibiotics. These advancements, along with developments in chemistry, genetics, and lab technology such as X-rays, led to modern-day medicine. Medicine has been in practice for hundreds of years, and doctors have learned how to prescribe pharmaceuticals and different treatments for different ailments, physical and mental. However, by the 18th century, it would be discovered that all treatment does not have to be literal. It was discovered that instead of using chemical pills or evasive treatments, that they could use what is called a placebo. A placebo is what is described as a common method of medicine. And in 1811, it was defined as any medicine adapted more to please than to benefit the patient. And many times it would have a psychotherapeutic result, causing them to be healed of their ailment, known as the placebo effect. The placebo effect, also known as placebo response, is a remarkable phenomenon in which a placebo, a fake treatment, an invasive substance like sugar, distilled water, or saline solution can sometimes improve a patient's condition simply because the person has the expectation that it will be helpful. It is a psychotherapeutic response to what one thinks is the cure to his or her condition. The mind sends the body the message to heal itself when you have confirmed that you believe or have the faith in your treatment. It is understood that the placebo effect is simply the result of believing and not doubting. So often we as believers find ourselves in a place where we could be in the midst of something like a placebo effect. What I mean by that is that many people who become ill and sick and they go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes pills, they've grown up to believe that pills are the only thing that can make them well. And because we feel that way, when the doctor prescribes you a pill, you automatically think that this pill is supposed to cure me of my sickness. And because I think that, my body reacts to what I think, and because I'm thinking by taking this pill I'm being healed, sometimes it does a whole different reaction. Your body begins to heal itself because it thinks it's actually getting medicine when it's actually getting a pill that's made of sugar. Why does it have to always be a substance that we can hold that makes us believe that we're actually going to get what we're asking for? One of our biggest issues is that we are so literal and so physical, is that we are never actually truly satisfied unless we're able to hold something that says this is going to fix my problem. I need to see it. I need to be able to hold it. I need to be able to look at it. And when I'm able to see it, hold it, and look at it, then I can believe that this is able to fix my problem, because it's something that I've seen fix other people's problems. So what they did with placebos is that they began to prescribe it, but what they did, they would spell it backwards so people wouldn't know that they were getting a placebo. They thought they were actually getting medicine. And so what happened was, in the reaction to getting the medicine, they were actually being healed from their situation or from their sickness. You wonder, what does placebo have to do with the story of Joshua and Jericho? The only reason why I'm bringing out placebo is because of the fact that when God spoke to Joshua, Joshua didn't ask any questions. Joshua didn't look around and try to figure something else out. Joshua did exactly what God told him to do. He says, I've given you Jericho. And Jericho only had one major problem. Jericho's major problem is that it stood in the midst of the land that God had already promised to the Israelites. So that the fact was, Jericho was going to have to move one way or another. Jericho was simply in the way. You don't ever get in the way of a plan that God has promised somebody, because when you get in the way of somebody else, God going to move you out the way just so he can give them what he promised them. Jericho was simply in the way. And so because Jericho was in the way, God told him, he said, look, I've given Jericho to you. Its large walls, its mighty men of valor, even its king. I've given all of this to you because you are the Israelites, and I've already promised you this land. And Israel, Joshua, already knowing whatever God says, that he means it. And because God says it, he believes it. We have a book full of things that God has told us that we ought to believe, but we have a difficult time believing in the word of God, because we always find ourselves in the midst of doubt. When God says he's able to fix your problem, every time another problem comes, you continue to doubt. Every time something breaks you, you continue to doubt. Every time you get sick, you continue to doubt. So I have three quick points that we're going to go through today. And the first point is, if God said it, believe it. It's so simple and it's so easy. God said it, believe it. I am the God of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob. God said it, believe it. God said, I made you out of the dust of the earth. God said it, believe it. God said he created the whole entire universe in 6 days. God said it, believe it. And the fact that we have an issue with accepting and believing what God has told us is a problem to me. Because when Joshua heard the voice of God, it was not something that was written on a piece of paper. God told Joshua, he spoke to Joshua himself. How many of you all can say that God has spoken to you before? You know how you feel? I feel like God is telling me that I need to bless this person, or I need to do this, and you fight it all the way through. But if God tells you to do something, you just do it. Joshua could have sat there and pondered in his mind and wondered, how in the world are we going to defeat a city with large walls, mighty men of valor, by walking around the walls of the city and not saying a word, simply carrying horns and blowing them, and then on the seventh day walk around 7 times and just blow some horns and the walls are going to come tumbling down. It's difficult for us to look at things that way. But see, sometimes God has got to give you something to do because he's already told you he's given it to you. God could have told him, just walk up there and say, God told me this is mine, and the walls would have failed. But he said, no, I need to give you something to do so that you can prove to me that you truly believe that I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. So you got to walk around the walls for 7 days. Yeah, it's just 7 days, but I need you to show me that you believe me enough to walk around the walls for 7 days. Do you believe me enough to walk around 7 days? I already told you it's yours. Do you believe me enough to fast for 7 days? I already told you it's yours. Do you believe me to go to an all-night prayer meeting and pray all night? I already told you it's yours. I just want you to show me a sign that you believe me. We're always asking God for a sign. Sometimes God said, I want a sign from you. You show me a sign. Show me a sign that you love me. You know how wives can do. You can talk it, but I need you to see you walk it, baby. I need you to show me that you love me, because you can say I love you all day long but not do a thing that shows love. It'll never mean that I love you. So God said, you show me. I already showed you. You show me. It's your turn now. It's your turn now. So sometimes you have to do things in faith just to show God that you have faith. You ain't got no food in the house, but you got enough to buy some canned goods. Go buy the canned goods. God gonna do the rest. Sometimes you have to show God that you have faith just so he can show you the power that he has. He already told you, I'll never leave you or forsake you. But every time you turn around, you say, Lord, I feel like I'm all alone. Lord, I feel like I'm walking in this thing by myself. I don't see how I'm going to make it. But God said, I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. But here I am. Oh, Lord, I'm by myself. I'm all alone. I don't know what to do. But God, I'd never leave you nor forsake you. God said it. Believe it. He said he already got this taken care of. And I could see how the people of Israel were walking around the walls of Jericho. I guarantee you not everybody in the crowd was okay with what they were doing. Because some people were walking around the wall simply because they were in the Israelite group. Some of the people were simply coming up for prayer because other people were walking up for prayer. Some people went out to pass out tracts or to do the work of the Lord because other people were doing it. Not because they were doing it for God, but they were doing it because somebody else was doing it. But I guarantee you there were some people walking around the wall. I don't know why I'm walking around this wall, but I'm going to keep on walking with everybody else. So yeah, we look like some fools walking around this wall. You know, if they come out of there, they're going to beat us down. But I'm going to walk anyhow. I want to see what's going to happen. Show me something. And that's how we are. Sometimes we are some show me Christians. Oh, yeah, you gave Sister so-and-so a brand new car, but I ain't got one yet, God. But I'm going to keep sitting in these pews, and I'm going to keep on saying amen and see if mine come. Huh? So we can't be followers. We can't follow one another. We got to follow Jesus. Because if we follow Jesus, we all going to look around and be walking the same way. The same direction. You won't have to worry about if your brother or your sister's beside you because y'all looking at Jesus, and that means everybody going the same way. But you have to have enough faith to believe that God is going to do it. Joshua, the city is yours, but I need you to do this for me. And so he did it. How many times has God told you to do something and you did it? You just did it. I remember I was at the church in Corsicana, and we had this revivalist come down from Oakwood College. Came down on his last dime, didn't have nothing in his pocket. And I was pretty broke myself. God tells me to shake a $100 bill into this man's hand. I said, Lord, I have 125. Why am I going to give him 100? God said, shake a $100 bill into this man's hand. I said, Lord, I have 125. Why am I going to give him 100? But I was obedient to God. I shook $100 into this man's hand, took my 25 home, and then the next day, my check was more than what it was supposed to be. Amen? All I'm saying is that it's not always going to turn out that way. But sometimes God wants you to do some things just to show him that you have enough faith to believe that he's actually going to take care of you in spite of where you are in the midst of what he's asking you to do. That's why we sit in this church. And we know the church needs different things. We know the church has to have different things done. Do you have enough faith to give your honest tithe and offering? We need to build more. We need to go farther. We need to go higher. But are we willing to have enough faith? Because God said, if you are faithful over a few things, I'll make you ruler over many. He said it. I believe it. He said he would open up the windows and pour you out a blessing that there would not be room enough to receive it. He said it. I believe it. So we have to believe what he says. Second thing, you got to know how to believe God in the noonday. You know how you get up in the morning and everything seems sometimes to go just perfect? And then when it gets close to lunchtime, sometimes all things begin to break loose. You know how you ever driving into the office and you got your spiritual music playing and everything seems just great, and you tears rolling down your face because your worship is so high, and you get into the office, you sit down, and then you got crazy emails all on your computer. You got people talking to you crazy. You looking around and say, wait a minute, let me go back to my car. But he's the God of noonday too. In the noonday, he still works it out. You know, more people are laid off during the noonday than they are in the morning. They usually wait till you put in a day's worth of work before they let you go. Can you run these reports for me? Can you fix all these, put all this in order for me? And then at lunchtime, we no longer need your services. But God is still God in the noonday. He'll still take care of you in the noonday, just like he did in the morning. When Jericho and them were walking around that wall, sometimes I bet some of them were sitting out there sweating and saying, boy, it's hot out here. And here comes a cool breeze. He's God of the noonday. He'll still be able to take care of the stuff that's happening to you in the middle of the day. I've been at work and had co-workers leave to go get lunch and not make it back, and they called back and said, I had an accident in the middle of the day. I said, you should have packed your lunch today. But God's going to take care of you, amen, in the noonday. I said, be glad you had the ability to call. It means that you're still here. Amen. But while Jericho was going around this wall, the people on the inside and on top of the wall were looking at them like they were some crazy nuts. And I want you to know that sometimes the things God tells you to do is going to make it look like you're crazy to other people. But what I want you to know is that if you do decide to change your diet and you're eating apples for lunch and they got steak, you can always send flowers to the funeral. All I'm trying to say is that sometimes God gonna try to gonna tell you to do some stuff that's gonna make you look all off the wall. You know, have you ever been in a quiet church where everybody's sitting down and the choir's just sung a song, ain't nobody saying nothing, you got to stand on your feet, you might be the only one standing up saying, thank you, Jesus. People looking back at you like something wrong with you, but they haven't been where you have been, haven't been through what you've been through, haven't experienced what you've experienced, haven't been touched by the mess you've been touched by, haven't been brought out of what you've been brought out of, haven't been touched and picked up and turned around, haven't gone through any of the type of stuff you've been through, and people looking at you like you crazy. But sometimes you got to look at them and say, you don't know like I know what the Lord has done for me. See, he didn't fix it for you like he fixed it for me. And I'm one of those people that say if he did it before, he can do it again. Same God like now, same God back then. I want you to understand. I messed it up, but y'all know what it means. But it's an understanding that, God, I came to serve you and nobody else. And I have to show that I trust you without doubting so that people can see that you are God. That's why I don't mind whenever I have issues where I've been broke down to my brake pads and other people can see me broke down to my brake pads. I want them to see me after God finished working with me and fixing stuff that's been messed up. Huh? Have you ever been there? Have you ever been where you were broken down and people looked at you and laughed at you and talked about you and said, well, what's this? And God fixes it. And people got to look back, the same ones that were laughing at you, and see exactly what it is that God can do. Because I know, without a shadow of a doubt, that he is a keeper. And so whatever he says do, you do it. I don't care how funny you look. I can be in the grocery store. And, now we have, we all have those inconspicuous, head deals, Bluetooth and all that stuff. And see, some people, they always look like you're talking to yourself. But sometimes when you're not on the phone, some people like to stream their music through it. And have you ever been where you had some music streaming and you were in a place? You might have been in a bank or anywhere, but there's a song, one of those songs that get, one of those songs like, I've gone through the fire and I've been through the flood. I've been broken into pieces, seen lightning flashing from above. You hear a song like that and it's playing in your ear, and after a while you find yourself worshiping in the middle of nowhere. God said, I need you to show me that you love me. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're in the library and it's all quiet. I don't care if you're in the grocery store and people are doing whatever they want to do. I don't care if you're in your car and you're riding down the street and you're at the stoplight. I don't care where you are. You ought to show yourself to be able to serve God wherever you are. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I worship anytime. When it just comes to me, I'm a worshiper. Y'all, I don't just do this here. I hadn't heard about what some of y'all done said. He just be doing that. But y'all don't know what I've been through. I wish you knew my story. But I can sure tell you about the Jesus that brought me out of the stuff that I've been in. Because see, I was one of those people who should have never got here. Umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. Coming from a mother who's not supposed to be able to have children. Doctor saying that the heartbeat is stopping. But every time they pray, it started back up. Devil tried everything to keep me from getting. You don't know like I know what God has done for me. So if I decide to give God some praise, don't look at me crazy. I've been in some stuff that showed me that God is still God. Still God. Shows me that he's still God. So whatever he tells me to do, I'm going to do it. Last but not least, God is still God at midnight. I said God is still God at midnight. I can think about the 6th day after the Israelites had marched around the walls. Some of them were probably a little distressed because they said, I hadn't even seen a pebble fall off the side of the wall. Some of them saying, I haven't even seen the people change anything that they're doing on the inside. If I was them, I would be packing my bags and trying to get out some kind of way. But I don't see anything changing. So I could see them at midnight on the 6th day, dawning into the 7th day, laying there wondering if God was still going to do what he said he was going to do. I don't know about you, but at midnight, sometimes when you're dead asleep and the phone rings, and you jump out and say, my phone ought not be ringing at this time, because if it rings at this time, it means something must be wrong. But God is still God at midnight. See, Dr. Brown, I know that you work the night shift when you go to the hospital, and you see more people at night than you see during the day sometimes. Because at midnight, people begin to have heart attacks. People begin to have all kinds of sicknesses. Things begin to go wrong at midnight. But God says, I want you to know that I'm still God at midnight. Tossing and turning all night long. can't seem to get good sleep because you're worried about how you're going to make it tomorrow. But God is still God at midnight. I know I like to revert back to the story, but I like the story of Paul and Silas in the jailhouse. Because people look at that story and say the only reason why they were trying to praise their way out of the thing, they weren't trying to praise their way out. Don't get it wrong. I don't want y'all to get it twisted. They were praising God because that's what they do. It just so happened that they got out while they were praising him. They were praising him because that's what they do. And so at midnight, when you've been through a rough day and the devil has beat you down all week long, and you feel like the woman on the commercial, I've fallen and I can't get up, and you find yourself with just enough strength to say, thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to get through this day. Lord, I want to thank you for allowing me to open my eyes one more time. Father, I want to thank you for allowing me to have the activity of my limbs through the day. But now that I'm laying down in my bed, all I'm asking is for a good night's sleep. But while I'm sleeping, Lord, and the clock turns to midnight, I want you to keep me while I'm sleeping. I want you to keep me and show me that you are God. My faith shows to you when I close my eyes, because I know I have to rely on you to get back up. Do y'all realize that? It's not under your own power that you get back up. God is the one who wakes you up in the morning. It has nothing to do with you. So when you close your eyes in faith that you're going to wake back up again. But if you don't get back up, I want you to know that if you have been one that serves God, that he's going to keep you. And when you get back up, it's going to be in the earth made new. I want you to know, church, we're living in a time that people don't realize that you have to have more faith in God than anything else. More faith in God than you do in the light switch. You know that that's a difficult thing? Because we have an issue at that light switch. If you flip it and the light doesn't come on, you have a problem because you expect it to come on. You ought to expect God to move just like you expect the light to come on. Just enough faith. Without faith, it is impossible to please the Lord. He says, I need you to show me that you believe and trust that I am able. I know all of you in here pray every day, and if you don't, God help you. But I know you pray, and whenever you pray, you need to have it within your heart that God is able. Regardless of what his answer is, God is able.